I used to think that there was only two ways to paint. Either your best or just get it on the table. But then you get into this hobby and you learn that there's this weird like middle ground where people are just like, I want it to be tabletop ready, but I also want it to be kind of nice. And that's where I feel like the slap chop method usually is, or with sponging and things like that, right? I don't want to be here. I'm okay with this. I think, you know, if you're going to play, that's a great place to be. But if your main point of the hobby is painting, then you should always strive to be on that painting for competitions, painting to the best of your ability side, which means that you're going to try stuff that doesn't go well. And if you figure it out, you'll be a better painter for it. That's what this week was. Am I a better painter for it? I don't know. I definitely have more patience and I definitely understand how things work better. Let me show you. So a few weeks back, I started painting Fane of Nero models. This is the newest faction for Warmachine. And they are undead vampire elves that have lived underground for 1,000 years. And I keep trying to do better and better with each model. This one probably to date one of my favorite models that I've ever painted because of how the wings turned out for it. And this is one of the war beasts from this faction. And so anyway, I painted this model. I thought, no, I can do better than that. What do I not like about this model? Well, the metal isn't my favorite. It's okay, but I want to do better non-metallic metal. And I feel like I've been doing a lot of metal lately, but I'm just trying to find the thing that I like the most. True metallics are great, but I need to give non-metallic metals a little more love and try them out. And so I thought, well, with this model that I'm painting, that I'm trying to do even better than anything I've done before, let's do some non-metallic metal in black. And so that's what we're doing. I've already painted most of the cloth and things like that for the unit. I did the face, which I painstakingly tried to do like a skull tattoo on this with the red eyes. When I take some photos, you can tell, you'll be able to see fully, you know, how the light came out on it. But anyway, I started by painting all of the armor black. And just to kind of give you a little tidbit of how I'm going to be doing this, I've got 5 colors. I got my black, my lighter black, my gray, my lighter gray to my almost white color. And this is the blend that I'm going to be doing for the non-metallic metal. And I've already hit all the metal with this. This is my Thamar. Okay, so Thamar black, and I'm going to pull all these in so I can show them off. These are the colors. So Thamar black, Asheth gray, Bastion gray, Grey Lord, and then up into our Drake gray, which is just a really nice kind of like creamy, almost white. And these are the colors that I'm going to attempt to glaze and blend until I have non-metallic armor that looks great. And one of the things that people always ask is, how do I determine where to put the light? And something I actually really like about this Thamar black is that it has a little bit of a sheen to it. So as you can see right now, as I've got it under the camera and under the light, you can see as the light hits it, it lights up these different places on the armor. And so realistically, all you have to do is put your model under the light the way that you want it and snap a couple pictures. Just like this. And then you can see those highlights. You can see those areas that the light is on, and guess what? That's your blueprint. That's where you start. And so in order to do this, we're going to try not going directly to the next color. We're going to go to the middle color. This is our bread and butter of doing this non-metallic metal that I'm going to try to do. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start with this, and we are going to hit all of those places where we know that the light is going to be. And so just as I'm looking at those, I'm going to just start painting the model in those areas. And we're going to do it a little bigger than what we think is necessary. And so I'm just going to hit these areas as best as I can. And now this would totally be easier with something that was like a shield or, you know, a bigger piece of the unit, but that's okay. For the sake of what we're doing, we're just gonna do everything we can. And some of the stuff may eventually become crystals, may eventually become, you know, rubies or whatever it may be, but that's okay. And just right there, just right off the bat, looking at it that way, you can see how the shine is working. And so I'm going to go around the miniature and do all of that. Now, once that's done, once you've gone through and you've hit all of those areas that you want that mid-tone gray to be in, you can go one of two ways. You can either go to the dark color and kind of start blending the mid-tone between the one. So starting color, the color that we just did, you can go with that mid-tone in between them and blend them together. Or you can go to your next higher up bright, which is what I'm going to do, and go to those same areas and just hit the place that's going to be the concentrated light. So it's not going to take the place of the whole thing. Gonna make sure I have some finer brush work and see what I can do. And this is why, one of those things why it's so important to have your paints nice and wetted, which I know sounds weird, but wet paint is what you want to do this. But we're going to hit those points that were so bright. And again, we're not going all out. We're just kind of touching up those areas that need to be the brightest. And we'll just go around and do that. And it should be about 1/3 of the size of the original brightness that you've already done. So just make sure you're focusing on the areas that need to be the brightest, hitting those as much as you can. And like I said, about 1/3 the size of what you've done already. And it already is just starting to look super good. So I'm super happy with how this is going. Let's finish this up and we'll go to the next step. Just something to kind of throw in here as I'm kind of going over all of this. Painting is one of those things that even as you're doing it, you're learning. You're learning there's ways to do it better. You're learning there's ways that maybe, you know, you could have tried and it would have been a little different. One of the things that I loved about the Thamar Black is that it's a transparent black. Yeah, it goes on super dark, but you have to put it on a couple thin coats to get there. But if you just do one thin coat of it, it's kind of a translucent black, which is super nice, because if you ever decide when you're painting this that you want areas to be a little darker, you can put that on there and then blend it in really easy because it's translucent. Like the translucent colors blend together really, really well, which is why you see a lot of people doing slap chop or wet blending with contrast paints, because they're wet and they just blend together really easy. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're doing this. Thamar Black is awesome for just kind of doing that blending of black, which honestly is not just non-metallic metal. It could be a lot of things that you paint that you need to blend that black in a little bit. I'm talking swords, normal steel, metal, things like that. So anyway, just kind of keep that in mind. Okay, and now that we have those highlights put on, and keep in mind, this is my first time doing this, so it's not exactly super clean or anything like that, but you can see that the lines are there, the light is there. And now we just have to make it look better. And even if you've done this messy, this is kind of where you clean it up. And this part is, I say it's simple. It's simple in theory. We'll see how easy it is in practice. But taking those 5 colors, now we're going to blend. And how we're going to do that is we're just going to go to the pieces. So where this black meets this dark gray, we're just going to make a wash. We're going to thin this out as much as we can And we're just going to go over the top of that area. And then same thing with the other colors. Where this dark gray meets this light gray, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to make a wash. And obviously you got to kind of mix it until you find that color in between that you want. And then you're just going to take this color and go in between these two colors and this color and this color. We haven't touched our highest highlight yet, and I'll show you why once we get this part done, but let's kind of jump from here and start filling in those areas. We want this. Oh, let my paint sit for too long. And again, we want this to be a glaze. And so you may have to water it down even more than you're used to the point where you feel like you're not doing anything, because I promise you, it is doing something. And you see people put it on their thumbs all the time, right? For a wash. This is almost where you want your wash to be. The wash should be, you can see it on your thumbnail, but it's transparent. You can see through it. And that's how you know when your wash is about ready. It's the right color. You can see through it when it's on your fingernail. So let's go from there. And obviously, the washes that you do in between these colors are going to differ, because the majority of what we painted so far is going to be, as far as color goes, you're going to use more of each wash from the bottom up. And what I mean by that is you'll have lots of this, less of this, and even less of this, just because that's how we did it. Most of the armor is black. We got a little highlight here. We got a third, or we got a little bit on top of that, and then a third of that. You know, so each one of these should be less and less, and it should be a relatively quick process, but you're going to have to do that blending. You're going to have to get those colors and make it look glazed, make it look like it's a smooth transition using all of our colors that we now have. So let's give that a shot. Like I said, starting with our first color and the wash that we have, we're going to just kind of move down. And you want to go right in between them. So right where there's the line between the two colors, that's where you want to go. And you want to go kind of just back and forth on those lines. And granted, this is not the best model to show it off, just because this armor is so small. Like, the pieces are so small, but that's okay. We're going to get there anyway and make it so it has a nice smooth transition between the two colors, between all of the colors, and that's kind of where we're going to be going. And now that we've gone around and we've done that blending, you're going to want to do the last highlight. And this is where we finally get into that last white color that we had, that nice warm creamy white. And we're not going to overdo it. We're just going to give little dots here and there. If you've got a straight line or an edge you can run it across, you can do that. This is just to draw your attention to those brightest points, to give the armor that shine that it needs to have, that even black armor would have. And honestly, up until this part, I feel like it didn't look as good as I wanted it to, but the second you start putting on that final little thing, the armor starts to kind of come alive with its shininess, and it looks like metal. And that's it. Painting this model has been really fun and super time consuming. Like, anyone who says non-metallic metal is like super fast, must be like a master painter and have done it 1,000 times, or they're just totally lying because it takes a while. And I don't mean it takes like 10 hours. I mean, it takes hours though. I mean, if you want to paint a miniature this way and do like a really good job, generally you're going to have to learn how to do things that do take a while. And this is one of those. Like black non-metallic metal, it's funny because when I think of black non-metallic metal, it doesn't really resonate with me as being black. It just resonates with me being a very dark silver. You know, I think of like graphite. If you've ever seen graphite, that's what I think of when I think of non-metallic metal. And I like that. I like how it looks. You know, it's supposed to have that shine if you want it to. You can make a matte black metal. You can. There's different ways of doing it. But this way I think is just kind of like that, just dark steel. And I like it. And I'm super happy with how it turned out. And I've said this before. It can't hurt you to learn how to blend. It can't. Because if you want to become better at painting, blending is almost a crucial thing. Glazing, as hard and as irritating as it is, makes things just look better. Like it really does. And it can be clothes, it can be metal, it can be leather, it can be any different material that you paint if you want it to look good, especially like skin and stuff. My goodness. Okay, so sorry. It's helpful to learn, so I think you should give it a try. You should stretch yourself a little bit because it's fun. Okay. At first, is it going to be? No, it's going to be a nightmare and you're going to hate it. Okay. But that's how this hobby is, right? You get past those things and you get to the point where you find enjoyment in them. And so anyway, just keep that in mind as you go into the hobby. It doesn't always have to be fun, but it can be, especially when you get better at things. I'm a huge fan of doing what you're good at. And if you're not good at it yet, just keep practicing and you'll get there and you can be good at it and you can love it. And along the way, guess what? You'll find your style, your way of doing things. And that's what I'm still going for. I'm still trying to find my style on the really good painting side of things. I would love to be a teacher of painting one day. And that's kind of like, I was talking with some friends, and that's my end goal, is to one day get invited to teach painting. But I'm not there yet. Like, I know I'm not. But I'm going to push myself to get there because I think that would be a blast. So, with that being said, why are you painting things to look better? What is the goal? Painting competitions, best in show? Do you want to have just a really good looking army so as you crush your opponents? Like, I really would like to know why you paint. And do you give it your all? Or is it just something to do to get your models on the table? Please leave it in the comments below. And if you like this content, please hit that like, subscribe button. The views on this is what kind of funds me getting paints and models and things like that. So anything you can do to help get this out there, I appreciate more than you know. And I am so grateful for all of you that have stuck around this long. So thank you. And as always, don't spend so much time building your miniatures that you forget to spend some time playing with them. Until next time.